Hey everyone, welcome to Carrier's Garage, and on this episode we're going to check out my 1990 BMW 535i. So this is my 1990 BMW 535i that I affectionately called Zygmunt, as you can tell by that front license plate. I've had this car for coming on probably 10 years or so now. It's got kind of a long backstory, but it's a car that I absolutely love and I've driven quite a lot and put quite a bit of miles on. Recently, as you can tell, I got the vanity plate on the back to match the front license plate. I put on the 7 Series M parallel wheels a long time ago. Those wheels actually came on an E34 M5 that we had picked up, and I ended up putting 8 Series wheels on that and keeping the M pars because it's a nice look. Only problem is the tires are big and they're a bit expensive if you need to replace them. Over the years, I had done a lot of things to the car. Like if you see the headlights, those are actually European market. They're called ellipsoid smileys. They got the little notch in the bottom. It also has the electronic adjuster that I had wired, and I'll show you the switch on the dashboard. It's kind of a fun feature. And as you can tell, the paint is pretty knackered on it. It's sat for a while down here in the Southwest and the sun just bakes the paint. It had been resprayed at one point in its life. It's not the original paint, but I definitely do plan in the near future about getting the car completely repainted. I want to change the color just a little bit, but it will still be red. This is still the era of the clamshell BMW hoods, which are really cool. The hood struts on this one are completely shot, so it won't stay up. But here, which is a bit dirty, is the fantastic M30 B35. So it's the big inline 6. A couple of years after this car was made, they actually discontinued this engine in favor for the 3-liter and 4-liter V8s. But this guy, it's got some really great low-end torque, and it's just a fantastic engine. The M30 had quite a long run. This engine in different configurations was the same one they used in the 2800, the 3-liter coupes, the 733, 735s. You could even in Europe get a turbo version, the 745i, which was a little bit different, but same basic idea really. Also use them in the E12s, the 6 Series. It had a long, great run, and it personally is probably my all-time favorite BMW engine. This one's got about 244,000 original miles on it, and it's never been apart that I know of. And today, before I went to go just wash off the car and do this video, I had a little bit of a split hose on the coolant return pipe, so it was pissing coolant everywhere, so I had to fix that real quick, but that thankfully was an easy fix. Not much to see back here in the trunk. It's a pretty good sized trunk. The tool tray, the little screw holder thing on it actually broke, so I need to get a new one of those so it just kind of flops around, which is a bit annoying, but I'll fix it. And I do have all of the tools. I took most of them out because the weight of it when it broke was kind of annoying, but once I fix the screw to hold it back in, I'll put all the tools back in the proper spot. Now, poor Zig has gone through a lot, and the interior does need a bit of work. The door cards are kind of all coming apart. I want to redo them. The seats are splitting. This seat cover actually isn't the original one to the car. That one is, though, and that one, of course, is coming apart as well. You see these early E34s, the stitching right here is actually exposed, but on this seat, it's not. This one I think I got out of a 94 or 95 530i out of the junkyard years ago. Originally had wood here in the center console, but I covered it in black leather, and I actually made this shifter boot myself. The other one I had was just falling apart, but from it sitting, it's shrinking and pulling apart, so I need to deal with that. When I'd moved out to Phoenix, I stored it out there, and then it actually had gotten broken into, and they stole the radio I had and messed up the whole center section right here. So I was actually pretty bitter and annoyed for quite a long time. And I just let it sit, and then finally recently I pulled it out of storage, cleaned it up, rewired everything, got it all fixed. Some of the other stuff I've done to this car is it has an M-Tech 2 wheel that a friend of mine got for me out of Europe. And the instrument panel, I actually built kind of a hybrid instrument panel. So the odometer reads in miles, but the speedometer is in kilometers, and it has the liters fuel gauge. As you can tell, it's got 244,724 miles on it so far. Another bit of the Euro touch is right there is the headlight leveling adjuster. And I even have the fog lamp switch, which has the rear fog light. I haven't wired those up yet. I need to get the center tail lights to make it work. And recently the cover for the sunroof switch just broke apart, so I need to order one of those here soon. Not much to see back here in the back seat. If I remember right, the guy that we got this car from had the back part of the seat redone, but I really don't remember. That was a long time ago. It does have 5% limo tint that I put on a long time ago. I kind of wish I went to something lighter, but it's okay for now. There's another bit of the door panel that's just falling apart. These E34s are pretty common for that to happen. Let's go ahead and start it up so we can hear the M30 running. Now, it's one thing I've been nursing is my fuel pump is going out, so need to replace that, but it works still. This having the solid lifter tappet system, you'll hear a lot of clicking that's coming from the cylinder head. Those need to be adjusted regularly. I do it every other oil change, which is probably more than necessary, but I just like to make sure it's all good. One thing I have wanted to do, I just haven't gotten around to it or found the right one, is I want to put a different exhaust on it. I've heard these cars with different exhaust, and they do have a great throaty sound. I just need to find the right one or have something custom made. The original color of this car is Zino Barrett, which for me has a little bit too much brown in it, even when it's the original paint. So what I want to do is I want to repaint this car in Mugello red, which is what they used on the E34 M5s, or Brilliant red, which is the color that replaced the Zino Barrett. So when I do eventually get it repainted, I'm going to do it that color. So it'll be just a little bit of a brighter red, which for me, I'm red-green colorblind, so how I see reds is a bit different, and I just want it to look good in my eyes. Another thing is on this license plate, I actually had this license plate custom made for me when I was in Paris, France in 2013. Found a little shop that made license plates, and I went in there, and I think it was like 15 euros, which is far a bit cheaper than the Europlates.com website. The other thing too, which I was surprised about, I called up the dealership with the part number, and this is a European license plate surround. So I took the whole front bumper apart, put that piece in there, and I got this snapped together license plate frame at a little shop in Berlin. Overall, in general, E34 to me is one of the best platforms of 5 Series that BMW made. It's just built so well, and they last a long time. I've known a lot of people that have an amazing amount of miles on these cars. I've owned quite a few myself. I had a 546 speed, I had a wagon, I've parted out several of these cars. When I do another series on my channel where I go talking about cars I've had, we'll talk about those other ones. But for now, we'll just focus on Zig, which I don't ever plan on getting rid of this car. I've had it for a long time. I really want to get to 500,000 miles, which is entirely obtainable. Another thing I forgot to point out, which makes this car really awesome, is it's a 5-speed. It's got the big inline 6 with a 5-speed, which makes it an absolutely amazing driver. Let's go ahead and start him up. Just take him for a quick little drive. So you can tell I do have the OBC set to German. And yes, I do need a new windshield. That is here on the next plans. All right, let's see if I can do this with one hand and drive a stick. I do have a little bit of a clunk from the front suspension, Many things on the added list of things on this car is I want to rebuild the entire front suspension. I want to do all the springs. I really overall in time just want to completely rebuild the car, make it more of a new E34 5 Series, since this to me is my ultimate car. I'd love to get an M5, but those are just too expensive. I do have an era correct BMW car phone. This car never had one. I just got this out of the junkyard years ago. It just kind of sits in this hole. I discovered that this little storage tray that these cars have is a catch-all for crap, and just by putting this in there, it's a cool period touch, and it keeps me from putting stuff in there and loading it up with junk. Another plan of mine as well, kind of in tune with when I redo the interiors, I want to take the entire headliner and all the pillar covers out, and I want to redo it in black Alcantara. A friend of mine has got an E39 M5, and I just really like the way that looks on the interior. Even my 2019 Volkswagen GTI has a black headliner, and it's a feel, kind of a look that I really enjoy, and that's one of the things I'd like to accomplish with this car. Well, that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave any comments down below. See you next time.